Have you ever wondered what it's like to live 100 years from now? What life was like before the Great Depression? How people lived, how people worked in the early 1900s? Most of us have talked about what it would be like to live at some time in the past, whether it be living as a gold miner, living as a cowboy. Many of us find fascination in seeing what life was like back then. So let's fast forward 100 years from today, 100 years from now. What would life be like then? What would they think about how we live, how we work, our culture, our innovative ideas of today? So for that generation to better understand who we are today, we have and present to you a time capsule. And in this time capsule, there'll be 7 items that contain reflectiveness on the 21st century. So from 1914 to today, advancements have been made in technology, in health, and in fashion. Today we're going to explore these. Let us first talk about medicine and a few of the tremendous advancements that have occurred in the past 100 years. So from the Human Genome Project, which is sequencing the genomes and the discovery of DNA, this is the key to unlocking potential cures for a number of genetically related diseases, and to self-management and support from providers. So this whole biogenetics field has grown rapidly, and the discovery and the subsequent 50 years of study has brought us bioengineered organs for transplanted patients, which have been grown from their own cells. This is like amazing work that has changed to where someone just doesn't lose the limb anymore, that you can actually regenerate the skin and then make an organ and put that organ back on. So the next thing is that we have seen a tremendous shift in healthcare delivery and a focus on disease management. Thus, this helps the patients to better control chronic diseases on their own and not to require long and extensive hospital stays. According to an article, 30 Events and Innovations from the Past, magazine Modern Healthcare, published in 2006, many experts trace the origin of disease management back to the launch of the blood glucose monitor in the early 1980s. This was an adaptation of a now common device that empowered diabetics to play a huge role in their own care, and had given rise to this new infrastructure in which providers are expected to train to support the patients in their self-management, and of course not spend more time in the hospital. So another huge advancement that was pointed out in this same article is the use of imaging. And when I say imaging, we're talking strictly about x-rays, because that's the only thing that was around in the early 1900s. It wasn't until 1960 that ultrasound came about, and this is actually imaging where they use sound waves to bounce off an object back and then gather the data and then review it. Then the next was 1975, and this was CAT scans. This is computer-assisted tomography scanning, and this uses X-ray images and a cross-section of a cell, and then when this cell is produced one way or the other and taken out of its norm, then that data is captured and reviewed. So these 3 things have come a long way. The next was, again in the 1980s, the use of MRIs and using powerful magnets to reorientate certain atoms in the body and then again capture that data. So with these technical developments, let's fast forward to today, and all of us see like freestanding imaging centers like the Metro Imaging that do MRIs and CAT scans and X-rays. We don't need to be in the hospital anymore.
I will go ahead and discuss another thing in medicine that has come a long way, which is vaccination. Vaccinating our children has come a long way, and if we continue vaccinating completely, parents in the future, maybe 100 years from now, might be able to trust that some diseases will no longer be around to harm their children. Preventative vaccines can save a child's life. Some diseases that killed thousands of children have completely been destroyed. For example, polio and smallpox are a couple of those examples of diseases that no longer exist thanks to vaccination. Smallpox eliminated a whole tribe back then. But now, thanks to vaccines, that's not even a worry. Some kids don't even develop smallpox because of vaccines. I remember as a child having chickenpox, and whenever one child in the household had it, the rest of the kids became ill of that too. Nowadays, my child does not have to worry about that. Vaccinating our children can save money and eliminate stress by preventing many types of. Oh, my goodness. You can cut out then. These days, they have a vaccine against chickenpox, and my children may never develop it. Vaccinating our children can save money and eliminate stress by preventing these diseases. 100 years from now, I hope to see vaccines eliminate many more diseases and keep our children much safer and healthier.
In our time capsule, I would like to talk about technology, and specifically related to computer electronics. According to an article that was published in Computer Hope, in 1613, people were known to be computers. Humans that did calculations were known to be the computers. And then that carried on into the 19th century. In the 19th century, a mechanical device was created to do the calculations. In the 19th century, at the beginning of the 19th century, the first mechanical device was created for specific purposes. An example would be Tommy Flowers created a computer that would read encrypted German messages. And at that point in time, people looked at computers, mechanical devices, and said they calculate much faster than the human, and they never tire. Nowadays, computers have gone much smaller, they're more portable, and they can calculate millions of formulas and calculations in a matter of seconds. The first computer that was developed in 1977 and the computer in 2014 are quite a bit different. In 2014, it's a lot slimmer, and it's in the 19th century, the mechanical computers that were developed for a specific purpose. An example would be Tommy Flowers. He developed a computer that would read German encrypted messages. And at that point, people started realizing that computers could calculate much faster, and they never tired. Nowadays, our computers are much smaller. They calculate millions of formulas and calculations in seconds, and they're portable. The first desktop computer was created in 1977, and it was a stationary unit that was found on a desktop or a table and used by one person at a time. Now, in 2014, they're much slimmer and they're much faster. So I put into the time capsule the difference shown in the design of 1977 to 2014. Then in 1981, the laptop or the portable computer was developed. And it was developed for executives to carry from point to point and use as they need it. In 2007, Apple invented the iPhone. The iPhone was not only a portable phone, but it also had all the capabilities of a personal computer and a camera. It was small, and you could even fit it into your pocket if you needed to. I put that into our time capsule. Then in 2010, Apple invented the iPad. The iPad is the size of a book, only much slimmer and much lighter. You can carry it in your purse instead of a book bag. And it has all the capabilities of a computer, a personal computer. I also put in our time capsule a book. And the reason I put a book in there is because now books are available electronically on iPads, iPhones, and your personal computers. Thus, the schools are eliminating paper books and going with the electronic versions. In the last 50 years, computers have far advanced than any other technology area. And I put these items into our time capsule today so that in 100 years from today, they can see just exactly how far the technology has come. Now that we've talked about medicine and we've talked about technology, how far do you think fashion has come?
Clothing surrounds us. It morphs cultures, generations, and even gender. Clothing envelops traditions of our ancestors, but it transcends time as it changes throughout our generations. It has encompassed and even signified gender and sexes. Within America, clothing transformed individuality and diversity. The influence of cultures within clothing is apparent, as many fashion shows involve intricate designs from India, contrast within Korean pop bands, and even the plaid, or punk rather, sensation originated within Britain, to name a few. A Brief History of Punk by BBC's Ian Youngs, a part of the entertainment staff, states, punk remained an underground scene until 1976 when two bands, the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, made the outside world take notice. England's punk band scene had political and economic roots. The economy in the United Kingdom was in poor shape and unemployment rates were at an all-time high. England's youth were angry, rebellious, and out of work. They had strong opinions and a lot of free time. This is where the beginnings of punk fashion as we know it emerged, and the center of Out of One Shop, states Runkeeper on About.com within the history of punk. More noticeably within pop fashion, contrast between black and white and usually neon colors is becoming popular. Even other trends such as red lipstick and more so very vibrant makeup have influenced American culture. Asian culture is becoming very prominent, and the elements of glam and clash of textures and patterns have been raging within America. Boy bands, celebrities, even fashion bloggers find themselves inspired by Korea and Japan. PSI, or Psy, the musical artist that created Gangnam Style, opening the doors for those who were not heavily introduced into the K-pop scene. And K-pop equations, adding up the American influence in K-pop, states, a major indicator of how the genre has been able to cross into other cultures, one extremely different from the Korean heritage, comes into the music itself. K-pop is a combination of different genres popular within Western music. Everything from electropop to R&B, piano ballads to hip-hop to soul music can be heard in K-pop hits. But a major specialty of K-pop and its own ability to blend these into hybrid pop confections completely in their own league. Comments Jeff Benjamin on Radio.com. Not only is their music a mixture of genres, but their Korean and Japanese clothing is very unique. Stars like Girls' Generation, T.O.P., SHINee, 21, even Big Bang, which is a mixture of K-pop and J-pop bands, have become overwhelmingly prominent within America and have created new subcultures in America. Things like these, this is really hard to see, but like lots of different colored hairstyles, jackets, plaid, whatever. They're printed very badly, but a lot of boy band looks, but modernized. This is actually supposed to be black, but lots of kind of scoop t-shirts that kind of fold over, even they're hooded. I don't have Justin Bieber. Where's Bieber? I'll show it later. But even bright lipsticks such as this, and even like shades like that, have been very popular within America because they've kind of they've moved across Europe and into America. I'm gonna put those in our time capsule. Clothing has allowed many to feel comfortable about themselves and to express themselves on their own terms. It has opened and changed minds, aligned people with their culture, creating new experience and opportunities to America, including individuality that incorporates ideologies of both genders, one gender, and even no genders within fashion. But when a time capsule captures the artifacts of a previous generation, it also is filled with our complement of medicine, technology, and acceptance. The time capsule shares important viewpoints within our history and allows us to progress into the future. Even while they are remnants of the past, they shall be remembered to better the future.
Very good.
I don't know, I guess we can just put this in later. This is just a spiked headband, wristwatch, whatever you want to put in there. It's going in the time capsule, and this is a Lime Crime Poisonberry lipstick that a lot of people use. Alright. Oops. Okay, that's fine.
I guess I should put my x-ray
Yeah, you should.
My chest X-ray. in the box.